Hey everyone, in this video I'm comparing 6 of the most popular image-to-3D tools out there: Hunyuan 3D, Ludo, Tripo, Meshy 3D AI Studio, and Rodin. Each of these platforms does way more than just generate models. Some offer texture painting, rigging, and even image editing. But for this comparison, we'll be focusing on texture quality, geometry, and customization options like polygon count. I'll be using a custom character I created named Gwen to test how each of these tools handles the same input. And a quick note before we start, I'm not an expert in all these tools, so I mostly use their default settings. If you found ways to get better results or tweaks I should try next time, definitely let me know down in the comments. Alright, let's get into it. So first we're going to start with Hunyuan 3D, and it looks like there's a few different options here you can choose from. I didn't change anything from the default besides unchecking shape only, because if you have that checked you won't get any textures with your model. And it also looks like it allows you to supply a back view, a left view, and a right view. So I'm assuming that will make the model a little bit, better if you have those views, but we only have the one image, so we're just going to stick with that. And yeah, this one looks, it's pretty much free as far as I can tell. All I needed to do was log in with my Google account, and didn't charge me anything. So we'll go ahead and give this a try and see what it can produce for us. So unfortunately, I kept getting this error the first time I tried to use this, so maybe it was just bad timing or something was up with their servers, but I did eventually manage to get a model coming out of this. So you can see the first one I did was without texture, and then the second one on the right there was with texture. So that was, pretty simple, straightforward, just one click, didn't have to do a whole lot. One of the things that I couldn't figure out, at least in the time that I played with this, was a way to specify the number of polygons or the number of triangles. So that's one thing to kind of consider here as we look at this when we compare it against the other tools. And it looks like it only allows one download format as well. So again, just something to kind of consider. Next right here, we're in Tripo.ai. And again, I think this one is one of those that has a whole lot of other features to it, but we're obviously just focusing on Image-to-3D here. So we're going to put our Gwen image in here next. And it looks like this one gives you 300 credits to start with for free. And we're just going to go with their default Flux Context Pro model here and see what it can give us. So yeah, I'm actually going to leave the poly count here at 50,000. That's 50 to 60 has been kind of my target for this. I tried this without giving it a poly count, and I believe it gave me something crazy like a 1 or 2 million poly model, which was way too large. Blender was even having a hard time loading that. So specifying the poly count here, I think, is the way to go for this one for sure. So let's see what it can come up with. And after it loads in here, all right, this one's looking pretty solid. Pretty nice texture. We can zoom in here, take a look at the fingers real quick is something that we'll take a look at with all these. So in this case, the geometry is actually decent. Texture's got a few little artifacts, but overall the face looks pretty good. There's 60,000 polygons, which is what we asked for, so that looks pretty good. So the other thing that Tripo provides is a way to repaint the texture. So we're going to give this a try and just try and regenerate it now that the model has been created and see how it looks. So you can see on the right there, we still have some of those artifacts on the fingers, but let's click and take a look and see if it can clean it up a little bit. So on the texture preview regenerate, looks a little bit cleaner. You can also choose different types of textures like PBR and shaded and things like that. So they do give you quite a bit of different options in terms of customization here for the texture types. So we'll go ahead and do the PBR generator here real quick too, just to see how that turns out. And once that loads, that's looking pretty good there. So I think we'll go with that one for our comparison test here. All right, and our next app here is Ludo.ai, and you can see it's got a lot of different features here: game ideas, 2D spray, it's image editing, things like that. But again, here we're only looking for comparison with Image-to-3D. So we're gonna pop over to their Image-to-3D tool here and grab our Gwen character pose. And this one, pretty easy UI here. I can set the max triangles. I'm going to turn highly detailed just to see how that kind of turns out. You can set the resolution. So let's crank that up to 4096 and choose PBR and click Start New Generation and see how this one turns out. Okay, so here's what it came up with. It's a kind of a weird viewer to start with. It looks like you get a little spinny model. It looks like you can turn it on to kind of view it like a 3D model. Yeah, it's like a video view versus a model view. It looks like it only actually used 29,000 triangles, so about half of what we were really looking for, which is nice. But it looks like the fingers are kind of mushed together, and textures looks okay. It's not the greatest. It's a little blurry. And it does offer a few different options for download formats. So we'll go with GLB. FBX would have been nice, but we can convert that in Blender. And so that's Ludo. Now I'll pop over here to Rodin. Now this tool I've kind of highlighted in several of my previous videos. It's very intuitive, at least in my mind. You get some free credits to start with, and you can use Image-to-3D. They have a Text-to-3D as well. So if you want to set your triangle count here, you just hover over that confirm button and then choose triangle or quad mesh. And then once you're happy with that, you can click OK. And then the next part here, you just click generate on your material. So we'll see how this turns out. Rodin has always been fairly solid. It's not the highest quality or the highest detail in the world, but as you can see, the fingers look pretty solid. Textures are okay. You know, there's a few little imperfections here and there, but not too bad at all. So we'll go ahead and confirm the material here and then download it as a GLB. And next up is Meshy.ai. So again, it has an awful lot of different pieces of functionality, but we're sticking to just the Image-to-3D function here. So this one gives you some free credits to start with as well. So I'm going to go ahead and click generate on our Gwen model and see what it came up with. Now, this one, I couldn't really find too much in terms of customization for the model. So maybe I didn't look hard enough, or maybe there was something I missed, but I couldn't find where to set the poly count or anything like that. It looked like it was just kind of, you know, basic, straightforward. You get what you get. So we're going with the Meshy 6 preview model here. This is, I guess, one of their newer ones. And so this one, like Rodin, it'll give you the model first. And this one, 728,000 faces to start with, which was a little bit on the high end. As you remember, we're kind of aiming for 50 to 60,000 for most of these models. So go ahead and generate the texture for it here and see how that turns out. And texture looks pretty solid. I mean, overall, the model looks pretty decent. Texture looks pretty clean. The fingers are actually not bad. Yeah, it's looking good, but the biggest problem is those number of faces, right? So I did finally find this remesh tool here where you can set a custom amount of polygons that you want. So I'm basically setting this one at around 60,000. So sort of like a, you know, the decimate option in Blender there, where we want to reduce the number of faces by a ton because 700,000 is just a bit too much for what we're looking for here. So let's go ahead and confirm that and see how it looks. And mostly the same. You know, it's not really, didn't really lose a whole lot in terms of the look and feel there. But the texture kind of got a little bit distorted. So let's try the retexture tool here. So, you know, there's a little bit of back and forth with this tool. It wasn't quite point and click like some of the other ones, but once I got the hang of it and I did the retexture, yeah, you know, we're down to 60,000 faces now. Now you can see, unfortunately, the fingers did get kind of mushed together there. So with the reduced number of faces, it didn't do quite as good of a job with some of the finer detail in terms of the hands there. And then last up here, we've got 3D.ai Studio. So this is one of the ones I'm a little bit more familiar with. I've been using for the past several months. So I've got my settings in here already. I'm going to go with the detailed for the texture and for the geometry and choose 50,000 faces. And right out of the box here, you can see the texture looks pretty solid. The geometry on the fingers is pretty good. We'll kind of zoom in here a little bit. They're separated and all that. And for 50,000 faces, looking pretty solid. Now, one of the things that I'm going to do here with 3D AI Studios, they have this texture painter tool that allows you to kind of generate on the fly at different angles of the character that you're working with or the model you're working with. So I just did this real quick, just a minute or two of quick cleanup here on the Gwen model, since I'm, like I said, kind of more familiar with this tool. If there's anything like this in the other tools that I missed and you're watching this and you know about it, please let me know. I think this is kind of one of those things that sets 3D AI Studio apart a little bit. Just the customization and the ability to kind of tweak things and adjust things, like this. So, all right, we got them in our Unity scene here. So we're going to do kind of a final look at each one of these side by side. So I'm swapping back and forth between lit and unlit just so you can kind of see the different shading and shadows and stuff like that. And so now we're just going to kind of go over my final ratings for each one of these. We're just going to do 3 categories here. So we'll look at the texture quality, the geometry quality, and then just kind of my overall subjective look and feel type of rating for these. So let's get into Hunyuan 3D first. So we'll kind of zoom in here and take a look. And so for geometry, like we saw earlier, I'm giving this a 4 out of 10. The fingers are all mushed together. It doesn't look great. Then for texture, I really didn't like this texture very much. I mean, the body looked okay, but the face was pretty poor. So overall, I'm giving this one a 5 out of 10. And then next we'll swap over here to the Ludo model. And once again, we'll go ahead and zoom in on the fingers here. And these ones, again, just not very well done. They're kind of mushed together. We really wouldn't want that for a hero character. Texture looks actually pretty good. I'm giving this one a 7 out of 10. I kind of like the look of it. And so overall, we'll give this one a 6 out of 10, just kind of look and feel for it. So not excellent, not bad, kind of right in the middle there. And next up we have Tripo. And once again, we will zoom in on the fingers here and take a look. And these ones turned out pretty good. I'm giving this a 9 out of 10. That would be easy to rig in AccuRig or Mixamo. And the texture, as you can see, there's a little bit of artifacts, but overall pretty solid. The face, the body. So I'm giving that an 8 out of 10. And then overall, we'll give this one an 8.5 out of 10. So pretty nice there for Tripo. And then up next we have Meshy. So once again, we'll go ahead and zoom in on the fingers. And you're seeing a pattern here. Some of these just don't do a good job with fingers. So we're going to go with a 4 out of 10 on the geometry there. Taking a look at the texture, it's actually pretty solid. I like the look of the face, the body, 8 out of 10. And so overall for this one, we're giving it a 7 out of 10. And next up we have Rodin here. So let's go ahead and zoom in on the fingers and see how those look. And these ones are pretty solid. I'm giving this one a 9 out of 10. Very easy to rig. They look pretty good. Texture, the eyes are a little wonky. Some things are a little out of place. We're giving this one a 7 out of 10 on the texture here. So overall, pretty solid, 8 out of 10 for Rodin there. And then finally, we have 3D AI Studio. So first of all, again, we'll zoom in on the hands and take a look. And these fingers are really solid. Very easy to rig. That part looks really good. Texture here, as you can see, there's a few artifacts even after I did some texture painting, but overall, really nice looking texture, especially the face. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. And so overall for 3D AI Studio, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. And that's my very subjective ratings. This is just kind of a look and feel sort of thing. So we'll take one final look at the models all kind of lined up here. We're in unlit mode right now. I'll switch over to lit in a second. But I realized I didn't dive too deep into some of the things that we could have looked at here. You could look at cost, compatibility, flexibility, formats, and things like that. But I just kind of wanted to get this out here with this one model just to kind of do a quick comparison on creating characters for game dev. So let me know what you think. If you want me to do more of a deep dive, if you agree or disagree, let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.